Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods here as we sit 8 days, 49 minutes, and 50 seconds away from kickoff of the 2019 season. I'm stoked. I am so ready. I got my tickets booked for Dallas. We'll be there Saturday morning, next Saturday morning for that Giant game. I cannot wait. Cowboys Experience is going to be doing it up. We're going to be at an autograph signing at Lava Cantina. For details, go to Cowboys Experience. But I know Michael Gallup will be there, and Barry's going to let me know what other two players are going to be there, and of course, a legend will be there. I'm excited. I just can't wait. I just wish that we didn't have all the other things that are going on with our Dallas Cowboys right now. I wish Zeke was in the fold. Amari Cooper's going to be back at practice next week. We're still waiting to hear about Zach Martin and Jaylon Smith. And, hopefully those guys will be back, and we'll be back at full strength, and we get this thing done with Zeke Elliott. Now, Stephen Jones, I always say this. Jerry Jones is going to be Jerry, and Jerry's going to say a lot of things. So you have to kind of dig deep in the things that he says because he'll go from one end of the spectrum to the other. You remember him saying, Zeke who, in which case then he came back and said, I've earned the right to joke with Zeke. And then today he says, after Zeke gets the MVP for last year, says, we're missing a player, but he'll be back, and that's no joke. And then earlier today, he had said, we have to prepare ourselves to be down one. So you've got a lot of things to deal with and dig through and find out where is the reality in this. Sometimes you feel like Jerry is a diversion because I always say, watch Stephen Jones. Now, Stephen Jones was said today that a lot of teams have been calling them about offense and defensive help, which is a great thing. That lets you know how much talent that this team truly has when people are calling you about players, knowing that a lot of them are going to be cut come Saturday. I don't know that the Redskins are fielding a whole lot of calls. Well, on second thought, they probably are because Trent Williams refuses to play for them. So actually, they probably are. But you get what I'm saying. They ain't calling about anybody other than Trent Williams. So that's good. Now, we also heard that last week that Stephen Jones and the agent for Dak and Amari Cooper talked a little bit on the field about generalities, didn't go through complete contract numbers, but they are communicating. And there apparently won't be like a once the season starts, we're not talking type of a thing. There is no deadline. So that's good news that both sides are willing to kind of work and get this thing right with Dak and Amari. Zeke, on the other hand, who knows? Now, we know Zeke is still in Cabo and that Marshall Faulk is there, but I'm not sure that Marshall Faulk is really in the best interest of Zeke. What he said about Dak, it's kind of like, you're hanging with your boy and everything else, and your boy is sitting there talking bad about your girlfriend. Regardless of how you feel about that person, you're still talking about my boo. And that didn't sit real well with me. And then today, some other things kind of came out. I want to go to the clips on here with Dan Patrick because I want to make sure that we get the totality of this. It's a long interview. I'm not going to play the whole interview. I'm going to do a couple of sections of it, but let's go.
Marshall Faulk joining us on the program, joining us from Mexico, where he is working with Ezekiel Elliott to keep him in shape, get him in better shape, ready for week one. Are you planning? Hey, Marsh, how are you?
I'm doing good, DP. How you doing, man?
I'm curious. Where is Ezekiel Elliott now? If we were playing this weekend, and he was in camp ready to go, would he be able to play this week and play at a high level?
Play, yes. Play at a high level, yes. But I would say possibly run the risk, as any player would who was not in game condition shape. If you tried to play him the workload that the Cowboys use him, I don't think he's in not form that he could go out and do the things that we were accustomed to seeing him do for a whole game.
What is your job with Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah, what is your job?
Just game, getting him ready for game, getting him ready for the game. Pretty much. Let's be clear. I don't have a job. I'm here to just put him through, simulate game action, do things that a guy that's getting you ready physically to be in condition. It's different. If you played football or you've been around football, you understand a running back job. It's just different. It's hard to simulate the contact.
Yeah.
But repetition of plays under the duress of a clock, and sometimes how things happen, and you're using energy kind of different. It's not just straight line running. It's different. It's different types of conditioning that you have to do, and that's what I'm putting him through. I'm doing the things that allowed me to play whole games, things that I did in the off season, things that I did in season when I wasn't playing, let's say, in the preseason, to make sure that come week one, I know I'm going to be ready if I did these things. I know that if it came down to it at the end of the game, I was going to be strong enough to help give us a chance to win the game.
Why Cabo?
Good question.
It's remote enough. We can control who gets in and out. Diamante, the property that we're at, Ken Jotty and his staff, they take care of us well, and we don't have to deal with. You're not sending anybody to Cabo. I just don't think TMZ going to go that far to see exactly what the workouts are like. I mean, you get a little past that 30-mile zone, and it's kind of hard to get stuff done. But it's worked before for him, and he enjoys being down here. It puts him in the right frame of mind. He's not going to the grocery store hearing from the Cowboy fans how he's messing up their fantasy football teams.
Interesting.
You know, I'm guessing, Marshall, that Zeke is not going to the grocery store in Cabo either. He probably has a guy who does that.
No, he actually went to. I'm not telling you. That was good. You almost got me, man. Almost got me.
Okay, I'm going to fast forward this a bit, because then we get into where you start questioning a little more the motives here.
Here's what I said. I said if you have a quarterback in today's economy of football, and you give him $100 million, and let's say he's done what Dak has done, which he's earned that right to get paid that, because
walk it back now.
This is how the market is going. Nobody's resetting the quarterback market or holding it back. They're just allowing the Kirk Cousins, they're allowing the Jimmy Garoppolo to just go out and, hey, you're next man up. Get the next amount of money, like they're Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. Yeah, they're just allowing that. But when it comes to the running back, it's like, no, Le'Veon got to get less. And it's about who's better now. Now it's about production. I don't even understand that thought process.
About production.
But
do you guys get that
I
one?
said this. If your quarterback, you give him $100 million, and he doesn't take you to the promised land, then he's just like the rest of those bums that's making all this money, not doing anything, because what happens after you get that $100 million? Now you might have a left guard leaving. Then you might have your right tackle leaving. Oh, you might not be able to pay this defensive pass rusher. Oh, your team, you cannot afford to take care of the rest of your team.
What kind of quarterback do you think Dak Prescott is when Zeke is in there? Is he a top 10 quarterback?
Yes. Yes, he is. And let me make sure that they hear this. I said, because they only heard the end part, I said Dak should get his money just like everybody else. We are going to see if when it comes to Dak or Deshaun Watson or when it's Cam, is it just next man up? Or are they going to try to scale it back then?
I've been arguing that we need to have a separate set of contracts for running backs. That position because maybe that rookie deal that they shouldn't have them on a 4-year with an option deal. I just think at that position, because I look at what will happen with Saquon Barkley, what I would have done with Le'Veon Bell or Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to load you up for 5 years. I'm going to run you ragged. And then I'm going to move on to the next running back who I'm going to bring in at a cheaper price. I just get the feeling, and it's not fair to that position and that position alone.
Well, if you think about this, and I'm not counting another man's money, but if you think about what Jaylon Smith did and what he got compared to what Zeke has done and what he is asking for, it's not even close. It's not even close.
Well, why?
They drafted a first round. They drafted a linebacker in the first round last year. If they thought so much of Jaylon, I mean, you draft another linebacker in the first round.
Should he be the highest paid running back? Should
Okay, so we'll end right there. See, this is back to, he said that, we don't have discussions. I'm not in that. I'm just here to train. But yet now he's brought Jaylon Smith into the equation and says, well, if you thought that Jaylon Smith was going to be all that, you drafted another linebacker. Well, generally speaking, you have one lights out running back. I mean, usually, right? Linebackers, we actually have our base defense, which is 3 starting linebackers, but although we're only in that about 25% of the time, but we have to have 2 starting linebackers. And we know Sean Lee has had issues. Even if you thought Jaylon Smith was going to be lights out, you still needed another linebacker just in case. So that whole argument and bringing Jaylon Smith in there and that he got paid, I'm not sure that this is the best advice that Zeke is getting. Because now what you're doing is you're kind of getting the Cowboy players to go, the fuck? What? Why am I? Jaylon Smith's probably like, why am I in this? Why am I in this? Dak is like, I haven't been paid. I've only been paid $2 million in the 3 years I've been here, and you're putting me under the bus. He has a $24 million contract plus an extra $9 million for a 5th-year option. I've got $2 million, period. That's it. So it's kind of like, Zeke, I don't know what's going on. I just hope that we can get this thing out of the way, because this is not good, not a good look for anybody. And if the team has aspirations of the Super Bowl, which I believe we should, I look at the amount of talent that we have and everything else, this is just getting uglier by the minute. Jerry, do what you got to do, but get this thing resolved one way or the other so we can focus in on the games. We only have about 11 days. That's it. And the season starts. You're not getting any younger, and Lord knows I'm not either. And we cannot waste this opportunity. I'm Mark Holmes, and I don't know what to think anymore. I'll see you guys later.